Am I getting stronger?
Okay.
Welcome. This is the Ask Brien radio show on 1220 a.m. My lovely guest, Patty, who's a mortgage broker or mortgage...
Patty Handy, mortgage advisor.
A mortgage advisor. What's the
Yeah.
difference between a broker and an advisor?
Well, a broker is somebody that brokers out the loans. We're a direct lender, so we use our own money.
I like that. You have any money for me?
Sure, if you want a mortgage, you got it.
I just wanted the money. I don't want the loan.
No, it doesn't work that way.
We have a lovely, great guest coming up. He's any type of question you have regarding web development, he'll be able to answer. So if you want to post something to Facebook, you can do that. But for people that don't know about the Ask Brien show, we always spend a minute or two just going over it, and then we'll get right into this. So Ask Brien radio show basically is we are there to help businesses. Where any type of business problem you have, that's what the Ask Brien radio show is. That's what the Ask Brien website is, and that's Brien. I know some people like to try to spell it with a Y-A-N or an I-A-N, but the best way to spell this obviously was the N. And by the way, you might want to take your thing off because I didn't announce good afternoon, Los Angeles. Got to do that. We got to have some pep here. This is a high-energy show.
We are pep.
We are pep, and we're trying to do whatever we can to help businesses grow. And one of our guests today is going to help on one aspect of businesses. It will apply to both online and offline. But essentially, the Ask Brien site itself, which is under redevelopment, basically allows the business community to answer and ask questions, experts to ask and answer questions. We have videos where you can take any business class you want, webinars you can take on any business subject, as well as ebooks. So basically, if you've got a business problem and you may not want to tell your friends, you may not want to tell, you don't want everybody knowing your personal affairs. And so how do you go about that? You're going to actually go to AskBrien.com. And
all those resources are free.
All the resources are free. It's quite a noble event.
Yeah,
and
it's awesome.
Nothing out there is out there like that, and you can actually get a real answer. So we're going to go to Harrison. Are you there?
I'm here.
All right. Well, actually, Harrison was on our show once before. If any of the listeners out there, but he had so much information to give, we just kept going and going. We decided to have him back on the show so that he could go on other details. And so we have a couple of issues we're going to discuss today. I'm going to start off, and then Patty's going to ask some questions. My first question is, so here I am. I have a furniture store down the street. I've heard a lot about the internet. I decided I want to create a website, and I can see these templates online. I can Google it. But how am I going to find a web developer that's going to help me out?
Well, it's a great question, and I want to thank you for having me on the show today. I would like to go ahead and get started by talking about how to find a developer online. The best way to find a developer is a warm referral. If you have a friend or family member or coworker that's had something built before, they're going to give you the best review possible of a developer, and that's probably the first developer you want to start talking to. If you don't know any developers, or if you don't have anyone in mind that you can ask for a referral, the next best place to look for is a place called Upwork. And Upwork.com is a place where you can go and hire people for any kind of tasks, including developers. And of course, if you can't find anyone you like on Upwork, or you just don't want to go through the process, you could always do it yourself. There's all kinds of tutorials online now. There's all kinds of applications, offered by Squarespace and Wix and GoDaddy that you can get a shopping cart online really quick. Get your site up and you can start selling things immediately. But that's if you have the time and if you have the patience.
Well, okay, that's great. But, even if I have a warm referral, and even if I have Upwork, and even if I have, a do-it-yourself video that I'll listen to on YouTube, that's great. But I still don't know what type of questions to ask, what information. I mean, it's kind of like a lawyer or a doctor. How do you know the lawyer's good? How do you know the doctor's good? How do you know? There's got to be some basic questions. Right. There's got to be some basic questions you would ask. What would you ask if you were interviewing to find somebody?
Well, the first thing that you would look for in a developer, and a lot of people don't think of this as the first thing, but communication. communication is key. If you're working with a developer, you want to make sure that he or she is understanding what you're talking about, and you are able to understand what he or she is talking about. Communication goes a long way. You want to make sure that when you are looking for a developer, you have that upfront conversation about what you're looking for, what your goals are, what you hope to accomplish, and you want that developer to be able to spit that right back at you and be able to say, I understand exactly what you're talking about, and you want them to be able to say, this is how I'm going to do it. Now, in a lot of cases, when they start talking about how they're going to do something, it might go way over your head, and that's okay. Because a lot of times they know that they're going way over your head, but they feel that it's necessary to explain the process. Now, for you, you want to be able to see the work in action. So always ask for any kind of portfolio work, any kind of designs that they've created in the past, so you can go in and use it and get a good experience and get a good idea of the level of skill that this developer or this development team has. And then once you go in and see their work, you're able to communicate with them. You want to test and make sure that this person is going to go out of their way for you, because you don't know what you don't know, and the developer does know what he knows, and you want to make sure that that developer is understanding what your goals are and giving suggestions and recommendations and not just taking orders. You want them to be a member of your team, not just an employee.
So how do you know if they're not fluffing?
Again, that's
testimonials.
Exactly, testimonials, portfolio work. If you don't have the skill set to be able to observe and report, then find someone that can. You can find a friend or a kid or anyone that can go use a site and tell you, hey, this is good or this isn't good. I've seen this before or I haven't seen this before. But, a little bit of research goes a long way. So I always encourage clients to spend 5, 10, 20 minutes during their lunch break just Googling different websites, using different things, and really looking for other sites that do something similar to what your company is doing, and use it and see if that's something that the developer is able to do, and if so, you want to see some examples or get some some testimonials that you can go and check up on.
So just really quickly, we're on Facebook Live, so anybody who has any questions for Harrison, please feel free to go ahead and write them in, and we'll address them. Harrison, I've seen, websites that are absolutely gorgeous, and they're just, drop-dead perfect looking, and yet we have no idea what kind of traffic it gets. We have no idea how effective it is as far as attracting the right client. My understanding is your company does all that as well, as far as just optimizing the site for traffic. Tell us a little bit about how you do that.
Sure, absolutely. So optimizing your website for traffic is it's a very broad subject, and so I'd like to focus specifically on the content of the site. I believe that when we're working with companies and we have developed this beautiful looking site, the content has to be optimized, where it's being shown in a hierarchical structure. You want to have big headlines. You want to be able to have short amount of text in certain areas. You want to be able to have links and backlinks. You want to be able to have optimized images. That's all content based. But then there's the optimization of site performance. When I come to a site, does it take me 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds for the page to load? Our page is broken. Are there 404 errors? A lot of those things will affect whether or not a user continues to use your site once they're there. Now, the last part is SEO optimization, and that's typically when you're doing a Google search or a Bing search, if you still use Bing, and the websites will come up. And a lot of times those sites are optimized from an SEO or search engine optimization standpoint. And that means, certain keywords and phrases are being used in the description of the site. The titles of pages are optimized for what people are searching for. A lot of this data can be gathered by using something called Google Analytics. And by installing Google Analytics on your site, you're able to get a lot of data back and see what people are searching for when they're finding your site, what pages they're on, how long they're spending time on your site. And a lot of this data can be used to continue optimizing your site. If you're going to optimize, you're going to want to make sure that you're optimizing the right direction. So by using Google Analytics, you can track how your site is performing and if those optimizations are in fact helping you out.
Yeah, that sounds great. I understand that there's the above the fold and below the fold. How important is it to have the key information above the fold? And
Well,
explain what that means.
before you get into that, not everybody knows
Yeah,
a
explain
couple of
that.
those terms, and in a short period, you're going to have to explain what optimization means. Not everybody knows what that is. So let's go back, take a step back on some of those issues.
Sure, absolutely. So I can kind of, really quick talk about optimization. And so when you are building a website, you're putting all of your content on that page. And you want to be able to get people on your site and have people convert. And when I say convert, that means that they're either going to sign up for a newsletter or purchase an item or, give you some sort of, piece of information back. And the only way to get someone to convert is by giving them a clear to understand website, like a very clean, effective message and content being shown in a certain amount of time that attracts and compels the user to continue on their voyage. Now, optimizing is a series of updates. Think of it as testing over time. You put a paragraph on your page that you just thought up and you wrote it out, and you have a button underneath it saying learn more, and only 1 out of every 100 people are clicking on that button, then you're not getting a very good conversion rate. So you want to optimize that paragraph or that button. You would change some wording, maybe reduce the number of words, or put some bold or colors in it. You might change the color of your button. You might change what the button text is. And the only way to know if that works is looking back at the data. Now, if you see 7 or 10 people are clicking or converting on that paragraph there, you know that you're optimizing in the right direction. And so the job of optimization is never over until, of course, you have 100% conversion, which is very hard to do, but it's not impossible. It just takes a lot of time.
Impossible.
It's not impossible. I've seen it before.
That's crazy.
Well, you're going to have to go over some examples later on, but I wanted to continue there. And then, by the way, this is KHTS 1220 you're listening to on your AM dial. We're also on FM 98.1. What? I got to shake there. What is that? We'll have to talk later.
We are on AM 1220, yes.
We'll have a discussion afterwards. Anyway, continue.
Sure. So I recommend that people use Google Analytics for optimization as well. You can create what they call experiments, where you can set up page A and a page B. It'd be very similar, but on page A, you might have a red button, and on page B, you have an orange button. And then by using Google Experiments, you're actually taking all the traffic that comes to your web page and you're segmenting them. They are splitting. 50% are going to page A and 50% are going to page B. And you can see how many people are clicking on either button. And at the end of your test or your experiment, one or the other will have won, and you can go ahead and choose to keep the changes for the winner. So now instead of having that red button, maybe that orange button converted people more.
What if it's 50-50?
If it's 50-50, you got to change something else, right? That obviously wasn't the needle to be moved. And of course that happens. You might be a 7 to 8 or a straight down the middle, 50-50 split. But of course you want to keep trying and keep testing and keep changing, because you want to get those numbers to move in whichever direction, so that you have some foundation on what your next step will be.
Patty, you're going to have to repeat the question, because I forgot about the over and...
The other question I had was the above the fold. Let's explain what that is, and then how important it is for that information to be above the fold versus below the fold.
Absolutely. Well, so most web pages nowadays are pretty long. You have to scroll. And so above the fold is all the content that happens before you have to scroll on that page. So think of your browser window and all the content in that window when you first load the web page, that's above the fold. And so to encourage people to scroll or to get to the next part of your website, you want to have something compelling above the fold that is encouraging people to get into the page and drill in deeper. And so by having something above the fold, like a compelling message or a strong photo or video even, those things go a long way, keep people on the site and keep people navigating through the rest of the pages.
So if somebody has an opt-in, let's say you've got a website and there's a they're trying to capture email addresses, and they get, if you put your email address in, they're going to give you a free something, a video or a PDF or some gift that's highly desirable by that visitor. I'm assuming that has to be above the fold.
I mean, I never say it has to be anything. I let the data tell me what it has to be.
Okay.
But in most cases, yes, you're absolutely right. Any kind of offer that you're trying to give to your users or people visiting your site should be above the fold, because that's going to be your conversion point. That doesn't mean that you can't also have it below the fold. Having above the fold gives users an intent, by saying, click here to get this. Versus just saying we're the best business in town. By giving the user something to do up front, most users will make that decision and go ahead and click on that button. But some other users might want more information, so they start to scroll. They're compelled by the message, but they want to scroll down a little more, learn some more, and then below that, the next piece of knowledge, you'll have another call to action saying buy the download or whatever the offer is. And so you'll have it in multiple places, but your offer has to be strong enough to compel people to either click on it or scroll to learn more in order to click on the next button available.
Okay. It's interesting. I've seen some sites where there's like a landing page where you have to put in your email address before you can even go into the site. And
that's right.
I know that's their way of capturing email addresses. And I know that there's also the issue that we have today with our attention span. They say we're getting to the point where we have the attention span of a goldfish, which is scary.
That's absolutely right.
And
Goldfish may have a lot. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. So, those of us who, scroll and just the constant bombardment of information, you've got to have something pretty compelling on that site for them to want to scroll and really go deep, or even put that email address in on that landing page to go into the site. So how do you grab that person?
Well, like you mentioned, when you have a website, sometimes they'll have couple different tricks that they do. Sometimes it'll be as soon as you start scrolling on the website, you'll get hit with a pop-up. Yeah. Sometimes after the first second or two, a pop-up will come at you. Sometimes it just starts with a pop-up and you can't go past the content. You can't get into the content until you give your email address. I've seen positives and negatives on both sides for this tactic of, give me your email address and I'll give you, what you're actually looking for. A lot of times there's so many websites and so much competition out there that aren't asking for your email address that this will actually deter people from going forward and moving through your page. If your product is selling and if your product is very, it's able to get the attention of people and it's something that's high in demand, then, this tactic makes more sense because people want to give you their information. They want to get more information out of you. Situations like this include like Facebook trends, for instance. In order to get a Facebook trends report, you have to submit your Facebook information or your email address, and then they email it to you. That way they're collecting information and you're getting the offer versus, having to download and go to a site. And other situations, where they're unlocking content, a lot of financial report companies, a lot of educational companies that are providing any kind of literature or articles. In order to get into their site, you have to give them something first. So, if you have a compelling enough product and you give the person enough reason why they should give you their email address, then they'll do it. If for a reason you're saying, give me your email address and we'll keep you up to date with, all the new stuff for this particular category. That's something that's compelling to me. I'm interested in, future technology, so I'll be happy to go on to futurism.com and give them my email address so they update me as opposed to me having to go to the site and figure out if there's something new on there or not. So it really depends on what you're giving and who your audience is in terms of, hitting them with that upfront, give me your email address pop-up.
Well, we're going to be going to a break very shortly, but I have a couple questions for you regarding how to monetize the site, but also going back to some questions you should ask a web developer. You talked about what you would look for in a web developer, but I want you to think about what type of questions you should ask and whether or not the web developer should give you phone numbers to call people, because a testimony could be written by anyone. We're going to be right back.
Santa Clarita Philharmonic has begun its season of free concerts. The SCP is a non-profit community-based volunteer symphony orchestra comprised of local musicians from throughout the Santa Clarita Valley who are dedicated to providing quality classical music for the residents of the Santa Clarita Valley. Like the Santa Clarita Philharmonic on Facebook or visit santaclaritaphilharmonic.org for more information.
At City of Hope, we don't believe the future can wait for the future. For over a century, we've been advancing science that saves lives. From 4 of the world's top cancer-fighting drugs to the development of synthetic human insulin. We are maximizing the potential of immunotherapy and making precision medicine a reality. It's not enough to promise future cures for cancer. We must find them sooner. We are the miracle of science with soul. Find out more at cityofhope.org.
When it's time to improve your game, it's time for Roger Dunn. Roger Dunn Golf Shops have all the top brands with professional assistants who will actually guide you with helpful advice. They've got it all. The brand names, the apparel, accessories, clubs, training equipment, videos, GPS rangefinders. It's the one store to find the perfect gift for your golfing enthusiast. Roger Dunn is the only Santa Clarita store where you can trade up your equipment. Improve your game. Roger Dunn on Main Street in Old Town Newhall.
At Jersey Mike's, we think there's a whole lot of wow to be found between 2 layers of fresh-baked bread. Like, wow, this sub sandwich sure has a little something something special. And wow, Juice does for sub sandwiches what spinach does for a certain well-known sailor man. Because we never just make a sub. Every sub we make is a sub above. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Your Santa Clarita Jersey Mike's, a proud sponsor of Santa Clarita High School football.
At Discovery Cube Los Angeles, every day is an adventure. LA's newest science center brings education to life and lets guests climb a rock wall, soar over California in a simulated helicopter, or score a goal against an LA Kings hockey player. It's like a theme park for the mind. And beginning January 27th, see the newest exhibit, Very Eric Carl, a very hungry, quiet, lonely, clumsy, and busy exhibit, all at Discovery Cube Los Angeles. Get your tickets now at la.discoverycube.org. Buying your home can sometimes be challenging. That's why Charlene Gill with CSMC Mortgage is your Santa Clarita mortgage expert. What's important to you is to secure a loan at the best possible rate, to have a professional guide you through the process, and to close on time. Charlene's 23 years in the mortgage industry and her personal expert knowledge in the Santa Clarita Valley makes her your mortgage expert. Contact Charlene at hometownstation.com/Charlene. That's hometownstation.com/Charlene.
Your hometown station.
Welcome. We're on the line right now with Harrison Shane of Issue Fixers. He's the CEO, and has years and years of development website experience, and he's able to answer any of your questions on Facebook if you have one. But right now we're interviewing him, and if you have any questions, go ahead on Facebook, and we'll try to ask those questions for you.
Can I just interject real quick? I want to just share a little bit of trivia about Harrison.
Okay.
Nothing to do with what he does for a living, but how tall is he?
Well, I'm going to let him answer the question.
Harrison, how tall are you?
I'm 6'10".
6'10".
So short.
Not too tall.
So
we're working on an Ask Brien basketball team. We already have one of our board advisors, John Trainer, 6'8".
You're on my side, Harrison.
We've got a good team going.
I don't know if you guys can afford me.
Good answer. That's awesome.
Well, our semi-pro team will be coming along any day now. So we were asking some questions to you. I wanted to get a little bit more back into the website development. We're going to go back into monetization in a second. But, what kind of questions can I ask a web developer to say, hey, listen, are you the right person for me?
I mean, the first questions I would ask is, I'm a little bit different than the average person. I've got to develop.
Well, your height's a lot taller.
Yeah, right. I have to speak a little louder. But a lot of the people who don't have this technical knowledge just need to be able to feel comfortable with the developer. They need to be able to be comfortable that the developer knows what he's talking about, and the developer knows that he can accomplish the goals that you're looking for. So some of the questions I would ask would be, what languages are you familiar with? And, obviously, again, someone who's not a developer might not recognize a lot of languages, but if the developer seems like he's confident or she's confident in herself, about what they say they do, then, that's all you can go with up front. I would take notes. A lot of times if don't know something, or if I need to go check with someone else, I'll take a video, or I will, do a voice recording or something of the conversation with the developer, and then I'll go to one of my friends or family and, say, hey, can you take a listen to this? Does this guy sound like he or she knows what he's talking about? And so from there, some other questions I would ask is, how long does it take you to build an e-commerce site? I would ask questions like, do you have any experience in design or working with designers? Because you want to find a developer that has a diverse set of skills, not just someone who can sit there and write code, but someone who can, tell you if a design will work or not. Someone who can tell you, hey, we're going to be marketing, we need to integrate these things. Someone that plays well with others and can hold a conversation with others in a different set of skills. Because again, there's so many developers out there nowadays. You're going to have a much better experience working with someone who knows the game and knows different aspects of the industry.
But I still don't know. What you don't know, right? So how do I know if? Again, I'm asking a question. I have Amazon 3 I'm coming out with. It's going to compete with Amazon. And I start asking you questions, and you start giving me answers. If I don't know the technology, if I don't know the information, that's why I'm going to you. How would I know if you're telling me, correct information?
I mean, it's a very good point you're making, because there is no, it's almost a Wild West, right? There's no any kind of legislation or any kind of rule book, that developers have to adhere to. You're basically, giving them the benefit of the doubt. You have to do your homework, though. As someone who's about to spend money and trying to invest in their business, you want to find not only someone who's going to build it for you, but someone who's going to be a team player and someone who you can have a long relationship with. So, the trust factor is a huge part. The second part, knowing what their skills are, knowing if they can do what they say they're going to do. If you have any inkling or feeling like this guy might not be the perfect fit, I would give them a smaller project. I wouldn't say build my entire website. I would say, hey, can you build this homepage for me? And I would see how long it took them and if it was a good experience. And then if it was good, then I'd go forward and, give them my entire project. Again, as someone who's not technical, you're not going to get that technical knowledge until you get the experience. And, getting 1-2 projects under your belt with a developer is really going to give you the experience you need to kind of start understanding the lingo, being able to tell the difference between a good developer and a great developer. If there's one developer might tell you, hey, it'll take me, 25 hours to build out your shopping cart. Another developer might be like, hey, it's only going to take me 5 hours. You're sitting there like, hey, why is it going to take this guy 5 times longer? And you might go with the cheaper, faster option, but it might not be what you're looking for. Whereas the guy who's giving you 25 hours might be a lot more robust, might have a lot more features to it. It might be more than you thought you might need because he or she is looking out for you and looking to scale for the future. So, answering that question of how do you know if someone's, giving you fluff or not, it's really difficult unless you have a prior knowledge of the technical aspect, or if you are able to work on smaller projects with the developer to then get your own experience up, as well as understanding, how this developer works and if that works for you.
Well, I just have one last question on that area, and then we'll move on. Patty has 10 questions to ask, so we've got to hold on here. So let me ask you a question. If I was looking for a web developer, and you go in a web development company, you have 5 testimonials up there. If I ask you, hey, listen, and this has happened to me in the past, I'll ask the developer, hey, listen, I'd like to actually speak to 1 or 2 people to actually get a real reference, because I don't know if the testimonial is fake, I don't know the portfolio, I don't know any information. And many, many times, people give me the standard answer. I can't let you look at the references. I can't let you call them because otherwise they would be inundated, whatever. And I always feel like, you know what? If you can't give me that information, the way I feel is like, if you can't give me that information, maybe you are hiding something back. Maybe that does affect my trust level. But almost everybody that I speak to, that is their standard answer. What is your standard answer?
My standard answer is sure. Here you go. My business is heavily based on referrals. We don't do any marketing for ourselves. We're based on word of mouth referrals and people having a good experience with us. So we're happy to pass on references that are going to speak highly of us or not. Give them a transparent look on how their project went. We've done enough projects that I'm able to, find several references for whatever it is that are going to be like that project we're looking at. But I always, call my references first and say, hey, look, such and such is going to call you on this day, or, what days are you available to, for 15-minute conversation? They're going to talk to you about whatever project, and just prep them for the call so that they, can make time for the client. Because at the end of the day, the people that I'm giving references, or rather the references in which I'm giving, those people, we've had a great relationship. Those people my company has gone out of the way to build or design or whatever we did for that company. But we also created a relationship during that time, which, we were teammates and partners in their success. And so by giving referrals to new clients, they're going to go ahead and, speak highly for me. So a lot of the times I don't have to do as much selling on my end if someone's willing to talk to a referral. So for my business, I actually encourage people or clients that I work with to talk to references, because again, that will close them in a lot faster than me, doing my dog and pony show.
We're listening to KHTS 1220. We're on the phone with Harrison Shane of Issue Fixers, and Patty's got so many questions. She's like, come on, Peter, let me go.
No, I'm actually, your last question was one of my questions, and that was just the testimonials. I mean,
I did not steal it from you.
Well, that's okay. In my industry or any other industry, I would imagine, testimonials are huge. Are you, Harrison, able to share with a new prospect some of the actual statistics of your past clients? Like, you can say, this company, owns this furniture store, and we did this, and go deep with regards to how much traffic you brought, how much, opt-ins you brought in. Any of that deeper information, or is that more confidential?
It really depends on the project. We do have clients, we do have projects that, we do collect data on, and we do use their information as case studies. And so those case studies we give to our potential clients. We'll say, for instance, one of these sites we worked with had a user base of 2,500 that we grew to 12,000 in 6 months by using these different steps of these different tactics, these marketing tools that we use. And it shows, the graph over time. It'll show, what things we ran into in terms of problems, how we were able to overcome those problems. But we create, 3 or 4 of those a year in the different sectors that we work in. And so, those go a long way, absolutely. But you'll be surprised that a majority of people don't really care about that. That's more of like me bragging and, saying, hey, yeah, we were successful. We did this. But at the same time, I think the trust factor goes a much longer way in who you're working with as opposed to what that person has accomplished.
Yeah, trust is absolutely imperative. What I like about the Issue Fixers model, if you will, is that you really cover everything. So if I'm coming to you with a new business and I'm brand new and I'm explaining to you what my, the passion behind the business is and what we do, and you build this awesome website for me, I don't want to have to share my story with somebody who's going to be doing my PR or my the SEO side or the marketing side. And you're like a one-stop shop. Is that right? I mean, you do the whole thing.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. And it's exactly what you just said. No one wants to spend so much time telling their story to each and every different creative service professional.
Yeah.
I liken it to like going to the doctor. You talk to your doctor, you talk to the specialist, you talk to the nurse, and you're telling everybody your story. You wish that your story was just written on a board somewhere that they can just come in and look at it. But it gets tedious and tiring, and you definitely want someone that is familiar with not only what you're trying to accomplish, but how you're actually accomplishing it. So that's why we do both development and marketing, and business strategy as well. We want to be able to help all of our clients actualize what their goals are, and then march in the direction that makes the most sense financially and time-wise to get the product up and out the door. And we find that if the product is being built, it's the best time for a marketing team to come in and understand what's being built, why it's being built, and they can go and craft the message for the audience that will come and use this thing that's being built, as opposed to building this thing, waiting for it to be completed, and then going to a marketing company and then telling them the story, and then hoping that they get it and can use it. And then by then, it could be months and months of time before you start seeing your first users.
Yeah.
So we find that by having everything in one place, it makes a lot more sense for someone who has a business to really focus on what they do best, which is running the business, not worrying about building the website or how I'm going to market my company today or what email campaigns are going out. Like that becomes inundated and, it becomes overwhelming, and we see companies burn out because they tried doing that, because they think they're saving money by doing it themselves.
It's a time suck.
But in actuality, it's a time suck. And people do not, traditionally, startup founders do not pay themselves off the bat. But every hour they work is worth something. So in essence, they're losing time the more time they put in to things that they might not be good at.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
We're listening to KHTS 1220 with Harrison Shane. I had one question. I'm going to turn it back to Patty, and that is, what trends do you see in the website development in the year 2018 versus maybe 2017?
Wow. Again, it'll be a really great question. Very broad. So let's focus on e-commerce specifically. Some of the trends that I've seen or that I'm looking at currently really revolve around the customer experience. I think that's the number one trend that most companies are trying to steer themselves towards. Having a good customer experience, from end to end. As soon as you come in and start looking at your product, they look at your brand, your name, they buy it. They want to be able to have a good customer experience. That means emails, personalized emails, localization. If I'm in a certain country, I want it in my language. Follow-up, availability, live chat. These are all part of the customer experience that really are helping drive e-commerce sites today. Another thing that is a trend that is kind of, it's like a no-duh thing, but people are investing more money in better photos and videos. Probably 10 years ago when the internet was just starting to boom, photos were low resolution, a lot of pixelation, small. I'm thinking of GeoCities way back in the day for anybody who's ever used AltaVista or GeoCities. It was just, it wasn't highly optimized. Moving forward today, people are hiring photographers. They're doing high resolution photo shoots. They're, actually paying attention to the design and the aesthetic of the site more so because that provides a better experience and more trust really for their customers. So people investing in better photo and videos is definitely a trend that's really picking up in 2018. Next is the fact that Amazon's one-click payment, their patent on the process just expired. So now a lot more companies can implement this one-click checkout process. And that's something that just happened this year. And then, another thing we're talking about checkout and payments, cryptocurrencies. A lot of websites are enabling users to pay in Bitcoin and altcoin, which is really interesting. There's a website I just found the other day called Crypto Cribs, which is basically getting Airbnb, but you're paying with Bitcoin. But I think is really fascinating. Yeah. And then, of course, everything centers back down to mobile. If you don't have a mobile optimized e-commerce site, you need to do it. People are buying online more than they're buying in your store. So, definitely focus on optimizing your website or mobile optimization so it's responsive, so that it fits on your iPhone, on your Android phone, on your tablet. I think that's super important. That should be the first thing that everyone does if they haven't already.
Those are great points. You mentioned earlier about the experience, and that is so critical, and it really comes back to even working with you and having a new client under your umbrella. It is all about the experience that we have with you and the relationship that we have with you. It isn't just a transaction that you are building our website and then it's one and done. It's about building that relationship deep, understanding you, becoming a, for lack of a better word, good friend to the point where you understand the business, intimately, and you can turn around and, maximize the effectiveness and the marketing and everything else. So that is what I love. I want to come back to one other thing that you mentioned earlier about languages, because Peter shared something earlier. How old were you when you started coding?
12 years old.
12 years old. So
yeah.
You know a thing or two, right?
I know a thing or two. Yeah, I've been doing this about 21 years now.
That's awesome. So in terms of monetizing a website, what is the most effective way? I know it's a very, broad question, and it's going to depend on the industry that you're obviously marketing. But have you found certain techniques work better than others in terms of monetizing an actual website?
Well, it depends on if you're selling a product or not, right? There's different ways to monetize different kinds of sites. Obviously, if you have a blog, you could sell ad space on your blog. You can accept sponsored posts and articles. You can do pay-per-click advertising. If you have a product, you could set up an affiliate marketing program. People can sign up and start selling your product for you, and they get a commission. You can put a donation button on your site, if you're accepting donations. I know one of my nieces actually has a website, dedicated to insects that she's interested in. And she keeps putting information about all these insects, and she put a donation button on her website so that she can, start making money on it and keep doing it. Same thing with Wikipedia, for that matter. If you're ever on Wikipedia, you'll always see an ad up at the top saying, hey, donate to us if you want to keep this site around. So that's their way of monetizing the site. So I think, first and foremost, if we're talking about what the most effective is, if you don't have a digital product or a physical product that you're shipping, I would definitely say a donation button could be a great start. Beyond that, if you have space and you want to, you can sell ad space. It's pretty easy to sign up for something like, Google AdWords or the Google Display Network. And they give you a piece of code you put on your website, and then they do all the rest. And the ads show up on your site, and anytime someone clicks on an ad, you get paid for that click.
Thank you, Harrison. We got to go to a break. Sorry about that. We have to go to a break. We'll be right back.
Come join me, Arif Halby, for Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour. Every Tuesday at noon, we uncover ways to help you manage your money, get out of debt, and prepare for your retirement. That's every Tuesday at noon on Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour. Are you not sure if you can retire yet? Listen to us and learn about tips for savings, retirement strategies, and so much more. That's every Tuesday at noon on Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour on your hometown station, KHTS.
Men, are you feeling tired, stressed, or just don't have the energy you used to? Did you know this could be related to decreased testosterone levels? Luckily, there's a safe, effective solution. Weeder Prime helps support healthy testosterone levels with clinically tested key ingredients. Just 2 capsules of Weeder Prime each day can help change your mood, energy, focus, body fat, and lean muscle. Feel the way you felt 10, 20, even 30 years ago. Rediscover your Prime with Weeder Prime. To find a retailer near you, visit WeederPrime.com. That's WEIDER Prime.com.
Live life juiced up at Juice It Up Valencia. Come in and try our great tasting smoothies, protein shakes, acai, and wheatgrass for your healthy lifestyle on the go. Also, enjoy our 10 flavors of tantalizing zinc frozen yogurt and selection of healthy toppings. Juice It Up Valencia is located at the corner of Newhall Ranch Road and Copper Hill Drive in the Office Depot Plaza. Open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m. and Sundays from 8 until 8. And remember to live life juiced up at Juice It Up Valencia.
Drug and alcohol use can lead to troubles at school or work, relationship problems, financial or legal difficulties, medical and psychiatric issues. I'm Bob Sheritz, the host of the Way Out Recovery Hour, airing every Monday at noon. The Way Out Recovery Hour features prominent guests and organizations discussing the epidemic of drugs and alcohol in our valley. Don't miss the Way Out Recovery Hour every Monday at noon. Asking for help is the first step. There is the way out.
City of Hope is a leader in cancer research and treatment, and there's a City of Hope location right here in Santa Clarita, eliminating a major barrier in the fight against cancer: distance to quality care. Santa Clarita has the advantages of City of Hope's renowned clinical expertise, compassionate care, and access to clinical trials. Find out more at cityofhope.org/Santa Clarita or call 661-799-1999.
Santa Clarita's hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. We're here with Harrison Shane of Issue Fixers, and we're asking him a whole bunch of questions about website development. He has a lot of other things. He owns a digital agency, but specifically we want to get into website development. So, question we had, we're talking about. So I've got this site. I have my furniture store. I posted it up now. I spent X dollars with you. You've got the site going. Great. This isn't Field of Dreams. I built it. How am I going to get people to come?
Well, it's a great question. So if we're talking about, actually bringing traffic to your furniture website now, then we start talking about marketing. And marketing is so extensive. I don't know if we have all the time in the world to talk about it, but
we got about 6 minutes.
Quick points. All right, so a couple of quick points. The first thing you definitely want to focus on is pop-up messaging. So when people are on your website, you want to be able to grab them. You want to be able to either give them an offer or tell them, what deals are available, or, you want to be able to have some pop-up that's collecting information. Say, hey, put your email address here and we'll give you, 5% off or something like that, or join our newsletter. Whatever it is, you need to get that email address, because if someone leaves your site, there's no way to contact that person ever again unless you get that email address. So first and foremost. Beyond that, you next want to have an email marketing system where you can market to those people. So one of the things I always encourage any of my e-commerce clients to have is an abandoned cart email. So if someone is giving you their email address, they sign up for the pop-up form, they put a product in their cart, they're like, hey, you know what, I don't really want to buy this right now, and they end up leaving. Well, automatically your website will send an email to that person saying, hey, you had an item left in your cart, why don't you come back now, we'll give you 10% off. So it's an abandoned cart email, and that's just part of an email marketing campaign. If that person doesn't respond to that abandoned cart, you can put them into a drip campaign, which is where you send out and you automate emails over time. So let's say, after a week, the system sends an email to this person saying, hey, looks like you were interested in such and such product, this couch. We've got all new couches on sale today. Come back and check out our site. And then after 2 weeks, there's another email that gets generated. After the 3 weeks, another email gets generated. And they're part of this drip campaign until that person has clicked on a link, gone to their cart, and actually bought the item, at which time they will be converted into a customer. So that's email marketing coupled with the pop-up messaging. And then finally, social media. That's where you're going to be creating a lot of your relationships with your customers. So get on Instagram, get on Pinterest, Facebook and Twitter as well, even Snapchat if you can. Engage with your audience. Use each network to push new followers or new friends to each other network. Hey, thanks for liking my Facebook fan page. Go follow me on Snapchat so you can get our daily deals and see our couch of the day. People are going to give you feedback. Say, hey, I love your company. Or, hey, your couch I got from you didn't work out very well. You can engage with them, and those engagements, those conversations you have with customers go a long way. They actually increase trust, and they make other potential customers feel more comfortable with your brand. And not only will they become buyers or customers of yours, but they'll also become evangelists because you'll have a great relationship with those people. So I think those are three strategies that for bringing in traffic and keeping traffic and actually converting that traffic into customers that any business can use and apply.
And that can be a full-time job. I know that just firsthand. I mean, to really keep engaged on social media, to build those relationships. I mean, that's a lot of time. Do you actually do some of that with your clients?
100%, absolutely. I mean, that's a majority of the work we do. When it comes to development, unfortunately, projects end. We built your website. Now what? When it comes to marketing, though, that's always ongoing. You never stop marketing, because there's so many clients and so many potential customers being born every day. And so, doing the social media management, doing the email marketing, creating content, video production, writing articles, Those are all things that we strive to be the best at, and we definitely have taken an active approach in creating new ways for our customers to engage with their audience.
And it's constantly changing. It seems like there's this. It's always evolving, and if you don't stay on top of it, you lose.
Every day. That's why I before I go to sleep every night, I spend 2 or 3 hours just looking at all the new products that came out that day. I'm on producthunt.com. I'm on reddit.com. I'm on Futurism, just scouring the net for what's new. Because again, when you're running a business, you have to focus on your business. Your nose is down and you're pounding the pavement. You don't have time to know what's coming for you. And that's how a lot of companies get disrupted. So by having me as their development partner and their marketing partner, I'm giving them this information. I'm saying, hey, by the way, these companies are doing this now and they're starting these things, so we should probably integrate it into your business, or we should pivot in some direction. So definitely having a technical consultant like myself does help in a lot of instances.
Well, we have about 30 seconds left, so you're going to tell us one thing. Other than social media, how are you going to get people to know about your brand?
I mean, other than social media, definitely doing advertising. I'm doing networking. Advertising goes a long way. Google PPC, pay-per-click, Google Display Ad Network, Google AdSense. Those are all things that you can go and look up and get involved in right now. Those will basically be what you see when you type in Google and you see all the different ads on the top and the right-hand side. You'll be able to get a lot of traffic from there. Social media advertising, buying ads on Facebook and Instagram, those go a long way as well.
Thank you very much. We have to go, unfortunately. You've been great, great on.